Hello friends, welcome to .NET Programming tutorial. In this part, we will learn how to populate drop-down list by using jQuery. So let's start with tutorial. This is my drop-down list here, and as soon as this page loads, I want to populate or bind this drop-down list by using jQuery. So let's flip to SQL Server, and this is my store procedure here. So you have to create the store procedure, and you can see that I have included two columns in select statement. So for his ID, this is a department name, and both these columns came from this department table. So this is my department table here. So you can see that these are the department here: science, arts, commerce. So I want this all this department in my drop down list. So to call this to feature, we have to create the web service. So let's flip to Visual Studio and add one web service here. So right click here, click on add, then add new item. Now I have to select the web service option here and click on add again. Now we have to include some necessary namespace here. So I already have this namespace. I will explain you why it's required. So we require this namespace because under this web service we are going to write one function, and under this function we are writing some AD.NET code here. So that's why we require this namespace. So remove this unnecessary function and constructor. So I already have this function and I will explain you how it works. So paste here, and before this we have to add one class file here. So click on add, then we have a class here. So give some meaningful name to this class. So I will name this class as a department here. Now click on OK here. Now remove this construct here and add some getSet property here. So there are two getSet property. First is the ID and other is a department name here. So you have to write two getSet property here. Now go to our web service here. So you can see that this is my function get department here, and under this function I am trying to read this connection string which is mentioned in my web.config here. So I am trying to read this connection string and assigning this connection string to the string variable here, and you can see that is the list for department here. And to establish connection I have written here SQL connection class, and I have passed this string variable here. And to execute our store procedure I have used SQL command here. So we have to mention our command type as a store procedure here, because we are going to execute this store procedure. If you are using raw SQL statement, so you have to mention our command type as a text here. Now we are opening air connection and trying to execute this command here, and we are looping through each row. So under this while statement I have created the object of this department class here, so we can able to access this getSet property through the department class object here. So this is a department class object, and we can able to access the getSet property with help of this object. So this is department object dot id, and I'm trying to assigning the id here and department here. Now we want to add this department object in my this department list here. So this is my department list, and after that I have created the object of this JavaScript slicer. So we want to serialize this list to the JSON here, and I'm trying to write this whole list to the response stream. So we have to test our web service. So click on build option. Now solution built successfully. Now start without debugging. Now you can see that my web service name is appeared here. Click on this web service and then click on invoke. So we are getting this desired result. This is a JSON here, so it means that our web service is perfectly working. Now we have to call this web service with the script here. So we have to uncomment this line here. Now we have to add one web form here. So right click here, click on add, then there is a one web form here. Give some meaningful name to this web form. So click on OK. I have already added one web form here. Now go to our design here. So you can see that this is the label and this is the drop down control here. So you can add this drop down control or this required control from this toolbox here. Now go to source here. So we have to call our web service through this jQuery here. So we have to mention this jQuery file. You can download it from jQuery.com, or you can mention here CDN also. So let's write jQuery here. So we have to cache this drop down element in variable. So let's write here. Now we have to issue AJAX request here. Now we have to mention URL here. So URL will be our web service path here. So copy this web service name, and under this web service name we have mentioned function also. So we have to include all this. And copy your function name here. And this function do not have any parameter, so we don't need to send any data to the server here. So we have to mention our method here. So we are issuing post request here. Now type of data we are expecting from server is JSON. And if this request is successful, so we have to mention callback function here. So whatever data we are getting from this web service is stored in this variable here, and if any exception is occurs, so we have to mention one function also to display the exception here. So we are alerting this exception here. Now we want to loop through each row, so we have to use jQuery each function here. And it expecting index of element and elements itself. Now we have to use this variable here. So I already have this line. I will explain its use also. So you can see that I have used this line here. Just wait. So I have used this variable, and we want to append some self-closing option element here, and it's expecting some value also, value and text here. So we can able to access this ID and this department name with help of this element item dot id, and this is the department here, and you can say this is matching with the class property here. Now we have to save this and start without debugging. So this is how we can populate drop down list with help of jQuery. So inspect this. So you have to expand this. So you can see that as a value, my department ID is appearing here, and this is my department here. So if you want the complete source code, so I have mentioned my blog link in description. So if you like my video, please subscribe my channel, and to receive the notification, click on bell icon. Thank you.